Hi, Drift here again. Welcome to my YouTube channel. The rear shock absorber, new rear shock absorber for my R8 has finally arrived. So today I'm going to be able to put it on. We'll get onto it. We'll get into taking the old one off, a leaking old one that's clunking and making all sorts of noises over every single bump. Something is metal on metal in there and it's just not right. So anyway, we'll get the new one on, get the old one off, have a look at the two of them, get the new one on, and that's going to be the YouTube clip. So stay tuned, let's have a look. Alright, so the start of the process is jack it up, get the wheel off, and then it's removing all these T27 torque screws, and there's, I don't know, there's 17 or 18 of them. I think I'll count them up later. Yeah, some of them might be a little bit hard because they sort of seem to set in alloy and can be quite jammed up. I've had to get some CRC or WD-40 or something in there. I just got some synthetic D-rust lubricant. And take the inner guard out, and then we've got a bolt at the top of the strut and a bolt here at the bottom of the strut. So I've got to take that guy out and take that guy out, but first I've got to get this inner guard off so I can get to everything. And then you probably can see that leaking, oily, broken shock. It's going to come out and the new one will go in. Alright, get onto it. Alright, so I got the shock out, and there's the reason why I've heard the knocking. See, the bush in here is completely gone. That's metal on metal. See, it's not central in there. It's that rubber bush for the top mount is just fucked. You can see the gap at the top, and in the bottom it's just metal on metal. It's where it's been hitting. You can see it there too, not so much because of the dirt. But anyway, and of course, yeah, it's covered in oil. You can see the leaking oil from that Magna ride. Absolutely naffed, no good. And there is the clunking sound that I've been hearing. Get in there close, see, clunk, clunk, clunk. That bush bottoming out, metal on metal. So that's the old one. Let's have a look at the new one. So there is the new one. It's identical. I'd say is that this is around the opposite way. I don't think it matters. Plug facing that way, this one the plug's facing the other way. I could turn it round. There's plenty of room for the plug to plug in that way. I don't know whether there's a difference. Everything on that is the same, except so part numbers, everything Delphi. It's identical right down to the numbers. The only thing is the Audi logo has been ground off there. The same here, exactly the same, but the Audi logo has been ground off there. Apart from that, it's identical. It's the same height. The bushes are now nice and central, so that should be solid. Not like that one. See, not central. That one centered. The bottom one on this isn't too bad, the old one. It's not too bad. But the top mount, this bush is absolutely naffed. So I'm going to get it in, put it in. Well, there it is, the new one's in place there. I did swap around the wire configuration at the top, so it came around the same side as the other one. I think that's the only difference from left to right, is the way the wire for the connector for the MagnaRide electronics wraps around the strut. It goes around counterclockwise on the right hand side and clockwise on the left hand side, and there's two little fixings you can swap over to make them either fit either side. There it is. One thing I also did was I swapped the bottom bolt. People talk about swapping the top bolt over so you can undo it, which I didn't do because it was easier to poke in and line up from that side. I could have turned around, but I didn't. Taking the plastic duct off isn't a big deal. See, there's where it goes into the airbox. Don't try and crack it open at that point, just pull it out from in there. The reason I swapped the bottom one is because it's impossible to line up that big lob bolt through this sway bar link and get it through the shock when the shock is down and expanded. You've got to really have that undone off, so this will drop down so you can get this strut in, and then get a jack underneath the wheel, underneath the hub down there inside on a solid spot, and you can jack the wheel up into place to line that up and then get that over and then tap the bolt the rest of the way through and put the nut on this side. Much easier. There's no difference. So what I did find is I tried to leave this pin in with that strut, but I could not squeeze the shock up enough and push the wheel down with that in place, so I had to undo that, pull the bolt right out so that the suspension would drop down long enough to fit the new shock in. Alright, so now just put the air ducts back in and button up the inner guard. Those bolts were a pain. They seemed to have been corroded. I've had it off once before and they were all mostly loose. I tightened them up maybe a bit too tight, and some of them were seized. I couldn't get that one out at all. Yeah, put it back together. We're done. Hey, future drift here through the wonders of YouTube technology. Good catch. And useless tripods. Let's go this way. As I was saying, through the wonders of YouTube technology, I am now able to report back around about 4 or 5 weeks, I think it is. I have to check the dates, since changing the shock absorber over to a high-end copy Audi MagnaRide shock that I got from somewhere that shall remain nameless, but there's 2 billion people there. So I can report back now how it's been going, and the answer is absolutely fantastic. It's behaving like a new shock should. The ride is great. Did a 200 kilometer trip, or just under 200 k's, a bit of running around to Taupo and back for the long weekend recently, a Labor Day weekend it was. Had a great holiday over there, stayed in a nice hotel. There'll be a motel with a great car park, covered car park right outside the motel room. I'll have a YouTube clip coming out of that. I've been really busy lately, hence why I haven't posted anything for a long time, but that's helped to bring you this update right at the end of this clip so that you can know what the result is, or how it's traveling anyway, how it's going now. Yeah, it's great. It's a $5,000 shock, which cost me $500. New Zealand, just a bit over $500, including shipping and GST for importing it, versus around about $5,000 for the same shock, shipping, GST, imported, factory. And, you know, my philosophy is that these other shocks that come from another place are possibly made up of, if not all components, most of the components are made up of the components that are made in the same factory for the actual OEM dealer, but they run off some extras sell them cheap and take off the logos so that they're actually hobbies or non-OEM products. But in fact, most of the thing comes from the same factory as the OEM product. Just the manufacturers put on a shitload of markup. Hence why it's $5,000 a corner for in New Zealand dollars. That is, I believe that's about 2,500 American for you Northern Hemisphere American people. About 2,500 pounds as well per corner for the OEM shocks from Audi. $500 for non-OEM shocks from other places in the world. That seems to do just as well. But before I go, one last thing, newsflash. Blew up the Mitsubishi van, bit of a story there, I'm not going to go into that now. Probably my fault for pushing it a bit, and anyway, it's got no compression whatsoever. I'm going to have to get a trailer and tow it from 125 kilometers away, or trailer it from there back to home, and I'll have to do something with it. So one of the things I could do with it is recondition the motor, rebuild the motor, or I could put a V8 in it. It's something we could do that might be interesting. Let me know in the comments what you think I should do with the Mitsubishi van. Should we burn it? Should we blow it up? Shall I rebuild the motor? Shall I put a Toyota 1U ZFE 4-litre V8 motor in it? Not an unlimited budget, but I'll try and do what I can. I'd like to get it back on the road one way or another. So yeah, let me know. Anyway, that's all from me. Like this video, subscribe, leave something in the comments. I'll see you next time.